Hello and welcome to Peak Venture episode number 2. I'm here with Chent Thambiah, and Peak Venture is here purely to give counsel, to give expertise, and to give exposure to CEOs, founders, and entrepreneurs that have done so many things to impact an industry, to leave their mark in the world, and to overall just do beautiful things. So I'm going to pass it to you, Chent, just to give an intro to yourself. And firstly, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. My name is Chent Thambiah. What am I? I would label myself as an entrepreneur. I have multiple different ventures and businesses I guess we're going to dig into in detail, and there's a lot of things that I can give to you. I'll save the depth of the story, of my story and my insights for this podcast.
Awesome, man. Well, yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here because I've been around you so much in the past and I've seen a lot of what you've done. And as you said, we'll dig deeper into that. But what are some of the most exciting, projects that you've worked on to date, and perhaps even just touch on surface level what's currently going on for you before we dig deeper into it?
I've found the longer I've ventured in this path, I've grown appreciation for each of my stages. So honestly, even when I had a 9-to-5 10 years ago, I was so thankful for that project or that chapter of my life, which taught me or made me aware of what I am and what I am not, right? What I want in life, how I love to live life, how I love to be. Straight after that, jumping into personal training, that was such a pivotal venture for me. I got to realize my love for developing others and serving others. And I got to realize that it's not just black and white, it's not just you develop someone's body, but you're actually impacting somebody's life in every area. And then that led me to a different kind of coaching. You could call it business coaching, but just coaching someone through life or guiding someone through life. Primarily with a business lens, with their own startups and with their own businesses, aspiring entrepreneurs, for example. And while I've coached others and guided others, I've always had my own projects that I've been building as well, because I find that as you're on the field yourself, you're learning every day and you're being opened up and made aware of different things that you can pass back, fresh insight and fresh knowledge to your clients that you're guiding and coaching. So that's sort of what my highlights are. So aside from obviously my coaching business, where I just work with a small handful of people to scratch that itch, and just make my heart happy. What I have currently going on is I'm involved in 2 different coaching projects, one that I run and another one called My Awakening, which is with a mentor of mine, which is now a business partner. And aside from that, I have something called Experience Online, which is my recent startup that I'm putting a lot of pretty much 90% of my attention to, which is a self-development content platform, but primarily Web3 focus, which just means it integrates metaverse, NFTs, cryptocurrency. So it's a fun project where we're building infrastructure and doing the so-called impossible,
Absolutely impossible, right? There's a lot there, by the way, and I think that's inspiring firstly and foremost. But what's really inspiring as well, a problem that I speak to a lot, that Peak Venture speaks to a lot, is something you will have experienced in your own way, but in such a big way. And I think that that's the way for a lot of people, of course, but your story is unique in its own ways. So I'm talking about the transitionary period, the position you were in from that 9-to-5 to the moment you had to make a decision, to the moment you had to say, maybe I want more for my life, or maybe I'm worthy of more in my life.
Yeah.
And I want to hear just a little bit more about what that looked like for you, because man, I see so many people struggling with that decision. And not knowing what to do with themselves.
That is interesting. I sort of have to take myself back. It's almost like, even though I've never bungee jumped in my life, and I probably never will, I would never say never, right? It's almost like the feeling of like, should I jump? There's almost no reason to jump. You could just carry on with your life without ever bungee jumping, but you never would have experienced what's on the other side. You would have never experienced pretty much how all of your mind and your thoughts is just pretty much bringing an illusion to life. The fear, I'm gonna die, what if this happens, I don't need to do it, I'm scared of heights, blah, 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 right? So that pretty much is the best way or best metaphor for me to experience or express my transitionary period, because I could have just stayed in a career of civil engineering. I could have worked up the ladder. I could have just, got the company car, been on 100,000 or 150,000 per annum. I even researched that, high level, CEOs of engineering companies are 200K and above. That's a lot of money, right? That's more than enough to live a great life. But the certainty of it, it's almost like I could already see my next 40 years of my life. That actually terrified me more than the jump itself. So that was not how I wanted to live my life. I would rather live life and experience the uncertainty of life, which is life itself. So it eventually just brought me to a point. Like, I got brought to a point, and I feel like anyone that's on the fence or thinking about it or in the early days of it and not sure if this business startup game and entrepreneurship is right for them, you'll have those thoughts the first 6 months, the first 6 years. You'll eventually get to a point where certain things will happen. Not necessarily the big success. Sometimes you need to make it and you actually have to lose it all. And then you realize, like, haha, this is me. This is me. I wouldn't have it any other way. I actually am so happy that I did make it all and I did lose it all to be here now and to see what I see in life,
Interesting. Why jump? Why jump? I think that's a great point you touched on.
Yeah.
And I
why
love
not?
Why not?
That's it, eh?
Exactly. You can look at it either way, but when the pain of staying the same, as we say, outgrows the pain of change, you tend to make that jump. And one thing that's really important to touch on is, just how specialized and beautiful that the industry is. It might not be for everyone, leading, being the spearhead, but there's definitely other places where it's still necessary to make a big call and to decide that you're going to leave the employment in order to live a life as fulfilled as you could possibly see it. So that's interesting, man. And of course I've experienced my own journey along that, so I can really relate to the internal warfare, let's call it. You'd say warfare?
Yeah.
It's like a conflict of interests. You've got oneself wanting to move in one direction and another whisper of change, getting all poetic now, whisper of change trying to pull you in another direction. You don't know which way to go. Is there anything else you can say on top of that, man? Because it's such a big part of it, right?
The warfare is actually is there regardless of your choice, because even if you stay in safety, you still have the mental warfare of what next thing should I get, should I do it, should I not, all right, 6 more months of this position. It's like, choose your warfare. And that's the irony, is we think that the safe approach or the stable income or the employment means less stress, but it's actually just choose your stress. But a beautiful way to see it is, like, I look at it as I look at a fixed life or employment, and nothing wrong with employment. Is like, for a business owner, you need employees. So some people are just conditioned for that, right? But if you are the 1% or the 5% or the 10% that are conditioned to be the leader and be the driver, because we need those two to drive businesses and drive new solutions. If you are one of them, you're pretty much choosing. It's like, if you look at a lion, right? You can either have a cage with guaranteed food, guaranteed water for the rest of your life, or you can be totally free, but food and water is not guaranteed. So it's like, what's your choice? Would you rather the cage and just enjoy the safety and the stability and the certainty, or would you be totally free to explore and embrace the uncertainty? So it's just like, choose your prison, or choose your warfare.
That's an interesting way to look at it. And I think that will filter through and relay into many different timelines or the sections of the pathway, right? Because you've come from one end to the other, and of course there's a lifetime to go, but so much experience in that. So another question: among your greatest wins, and perhaps what you might perceive to be your greatest failures as well, your greatest lessons, how have you managed to find that balance? Let's look at the words grind versus aligned. let's look at the words, really keeping your sanity. How would you respond to that, man? Just being along that journey after starting.
I would say it's interesting. We look for balance, but balance is in the word itself. So what is balance? I've come to realize that with every success, the opposite or the balance to a success is almost a failure. With every up, there's a down. The balance of an up is a down. The balance of a down is an up.
Absolutely.
So once I've come to realize that by only looking for ups, and like up, I'm happy, down, I'm depressed, right? It took some of the biggest ups and the biggest downs on the other side of it naturally, because that's just the law of balance, to realize like this is the way, the up is the way and the down is the way. So, I've had a couple of big highlights, like would sit in startup businesses. Getting my first $1 million valuation was a big up, but then we couldn't get it past the $1 million valuation, and then we had to close the company, which is a down, but that was the balance. And that experience carried on to the next thing. And then I had a massive coaching business that brought in a whole lot of money, like a six-figure month, right? And then that sort of came to an end because I saw incongruencies within what I was doing, and I just felt like my heart wasn't in it anymore. So that was a big up, and then saying, pretty much pulling the plug to 6 figures every month, down. And then I enjoyed that experience. So now, with everything that I got going on, I've got a lot of ups, but I'm welcoming the down in whatever shape the down takes form as, right? And that's the balance, is like not getting lost in the pursuit of one thing or like wins only, because the balance is with every win there's a loss and every loss there's a win, right? That's how I would express balance.
Absolutely. There's this one thing, right? It's the law of polarity. And for me personally, that was something you really have to go through. You have to grow through. There's no dodging that bullet. That bullet comes for us all, and it's actually a paintball. It's not going to kill you, right? But
Until it does.
Until it does. If you play with it long enough, it will definitely. But you start to see the blessing in the misfortunes, right? And that's interesting because pain is pain. There's all different kinds of adversities that you face inevitably along your journey as a founder, as a creator, as an entrepreneur, as the owner, the holder of an idea. You're going to face these things, and it's so beautiful. I can't actually explain it. I wonder if you can shortly. What it's like when you get to a point and you start to seek these failures. As cliche as it might sound, it's simply cliche because it's true. You start to see the learning versus the losing. And that moment of relief where you realize, man, the journey ahead is no longer painful, or far less to that degree. How would that feel? How did that feel for you, perhaps, if I'm going to ask a question?
Yeah. The interesting thing that comes to me is, how do you get to the point of wanting failures? Is you just come to a point where your perception of it is shifted through failure itself. Even the word failure, if everyone asks, like, what's your definition of failure? I failed, I lost. But what is lost, right? Failure, the definition of failure itself will start to shift when you begin to put yourself in positions where you do fail, right? And then it's never really what it seems. And I'll give a basic example, right? When someone is transitioning, majority of the people that will watch this, you'll have many investments that you'll have to make. Your first big investment into a coach, your first big investment into a mentor, and they never stop. They're just continually there. If anything, it's just teaching you the habit of investment. Because when you're in a business or in a startup and you're bootstrapping, you are putting 10K, 20K, 5K, 2K, 50K of your own money until you get investors, right? So the whole investing into your first program, investing into mentors, investing into coaches, it's just teaching you that methodology. But most people will look at it like, okay, if I pay 5,000, how much am I going to get back? But sometimes 5,000 is almost the payment for your next step, for whatever path you're taking. you may not get an immediate return. I think I've easily spent about 100,000 plus on mentors and coaches before I even saw a single dollar properly.
Absolutely, man.
Right? And if anything, it's like the record's probably, I've spent way more than I've gained, right?
Yeah.
Monetarily, right?
Yeah.
But what I actually have gained is priceless. And I would actually pay even more, and I'll continue to pay for that reason. So it's just seeing through all of these things. Like everything that stops you from your next step is just a lack of awareness or perception of that step. You see that step as something you're not ready for, something that doesn't look like it's going to work, something that I'm going to fail. But all of this, what is not work, what is fail, what is I'm not ready. It's just a lack of perception around these things. So the only way to ever find out what's on the other side is jump, right? And whatever that jump looks like for you, whatever your current jump looks like, don't worry about the next jump or the next jump. Just look, what is today's jump? What is this moment? Still, what is this chapter's jump? Double down on that and just enjoy your life, enjoy the ride, or you miss it.
Or you will miss it. Exactly right. So that's finding the love, finding the awareness, or allowing the awareness to enjoy that ride, because that ride will be mixed with ups and downs, and that's 100%. The balance. That's the beautiful polarity, the reality of your greater self at the end of the day. So yeah, I think it's obviously very fitting. So Peak Venture works with these CEOs. Peak Venture facilitates a space for these people to come together and to develop not only mentally, but but also their business, to really focus in on their business, to hyper-focus and have access to specialists to develop different sectors of the business game to, well, elevate, impact an industry. Now, I know that what you're currently doing, I'm aware of a lot of things you've done in the past, which are so inspiring. It's led you to this point. Now, what you're currently doing is doing a lot of the same thing, right? You're working with high performers. You're working with people that are very much in that bootstrapping phase, and you're taking them to the first round. What's some of the problems that you're experiencing that, you know, these people are really perhaps lacking from their startup journey?
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Like, okay, this is probably the number one problem I see. And it's interesting because it's not like they lack or like they don't have money or something like that. It's just the lack of awareness. It's just a lack of awareness. And like, okay, I'll elaborate.
There we go, people. We're done.
I'll elaborate, right? The only suffering or pain or problems I encounter with each of these people that I guide is like, they're just like, Chent, this is, I don't know if this is working, I don't know if that is working, oh man, like this is hard, that is hard. But what's your reference point of what is working?
Yeah.
You know, you think this step is going to take you here, but sometimes this step takes you here. So you can only see, the mind can only see in straight lines, it only sees linear. It only sees A, B, C. But sometimes life is A, B, F.
Whoa.
Literally.
Whoa.
Literally. So that's what I see is like, I'll be sitting there like, everyone is exactly where they need to be, exactly at each moment and every time. And life will play out exactly how it meant to play out for you. You know, you may have this fantasy of how life is going to go, but literally your life can get taken at any moment. There's so many people that die at 21, 19, 25, 32, freak accidents. If you look at the news, a couple of people died just this past week, right? In the most tragic, scenarios. So understanding that is like, we miss the point where we think that it meant to go the way you think it's going to go. And that's the problem I see is like people would always think they know the way it's going to go or want it to go the way they want it to go, right? And that's pretty much the role I really do play is just bring them back into this moment of like, you are here. This is it. Like this whole fantasy you're working towards, this is it. This is the life. Like this moment is life. You don't live life once you get somewhere. Yeah. This is life. So that sort of ties in the main sort of thing, and the lack of awareness and how it does affect people in this journey. How I would express it.
Whoa. I have to say it again, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's such an interesting journey. And that's why it's so important to, expose yourself to mentors. You spoke briefly about investing, you know, being amongst that energy, that counsel rather than opinion. I think, man, one thing we can all wish, right? At the start of your journey, man, why did I not expose myself to people earlier, right?
Yeah.
When I knew that this is the life that I was destined to live.
Self-made.
Yeah. Let's get that on the wall next to it. And that's why it's so beautiful. To put yourself in a space of knowingness amongst people that have been where you want to go, or currently have what you would like to have, and to, you know, just enjoy the journey along with that. So it's very interesting, man. And I think that working in this industry, I've been able to see a lot of the problems that these people are facing. It ties in very much to what you just said.
Yeah.
And, you know, the word you said, awareness. People just want strategy. Is that wrong? Is that wrong of me to say?
Yeah, it's true. They just want to get there, but they're not here.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah. So let's go on Google right now and find a strategy to make $20,000 in the next 3 weeks. What would I come into?
Thousands and thousands of strategies for free.
So it's just marketing.
Yeah.
It's just a whole bunch of things that are beside the point, obviously. I think I'm supporting your point of awareness, your point of being able to, and we'll dig a little bit deeper into this, realizing that your internal state reflects outwards, and that what you, finish my line, what you believe, conceive, universe will achieve.
I can't help you there.
I just went there. I just butchered that.
Yeah. You did.
Thanks, bro. I'll let you carry on from there.
Yeah. Let's talk about this $20,000 vision. Okay, so you want to make $20,000 a month, right? There's nothing wrong with it, and there's nothing right with it. So we'll look at it like this. If you dedicate your life to that, you'll eventually get it. You may get it, and then you may not be able to maintain it, and then you try to get back there again or get it again. And then you may even get to the point where you get it, and now it's consistent. But if we look at like timelines, or like your life, right? It may take you a year before you get your first 20K month.
Absolutely.
Or week. Your first 20K month or week. It might take you a year, it might take you 5 years, it might take you 10 years. And then you got it. So like all of these moments for 5-10 years, this point on a Tuesday, 7:47 p.m., you got it. So you got it there, but you missed the last 5-10 years looking for that one little dot. And you experience that dot, and you have a great night, and you pretty much ride it for maybe, I don't know, a week or two, and then you can't reproduce it. So now that dot's already gone, and now you've dedicated maybe the next 6 months to how do I reproduce this consistently. And you miss the whole 6 months for another dot, another moment, right? And let's just say you get to the point where now it's consistent every single week, 20K, 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 25K, 22K, 18K, 30K, weekly. Your mind's already like, cool, let me get to 50 now. So then the next moment, and then you miss your whole life for the next moment. So that's the thing, is like, all your goals will come to life. You'll reach all of the numbers, you'll do it, but it's not even about that. It's the moments, like life is lived in each moment, and how many moments are we missing, lost in the fantasy or the pursuit of getting to the next milestone? All right.
So how frustrated were you when you learned that?
Man,
when you learned that it's not all about the money, right?
Yeah, it was, it broke me, but it freed me at the same time. It was like a paradox.
Fascinating paradox.
Yeah.
You know, and I can relate through my own journey as well. Most certainly, you know, if you're looking at your business, whatever it is that you're doing, you know, it's as simple as being able to look at people rather than money. I mean, that's a great way to activate inspiration and to really move the needle in your business, because when you connect to that, when you connect to impact, when you connect to passion, man, is there anything else that can really drive you faster? No?
Nah.
So what inspires you, Chent?
Yeah, it's funny, man. Whatever you ask me, I noticed this just now, I'll pretty much say the same thing from just very different angles, which is beautiful for the viewers, right? Because I'm not really saying anything new. And the mind won't like that, because the mind, especially like let's just say if you know me or you've done your research and you want to be like me or you want to build things like me, you'll be watching this thinking that I'm about to give you all the secrets, but I'm pointing you, and we both are, to just one thing, right? So what keeps me inspired, which is your question, is just living for the moment. Like I have so many things going on, like a multi-million-dollar raise for a business, getting one business to X amount of dollars, getting these clients here. I got all of these things happening at the moment, but in this moment, I'm sitting with you on this podcast, getting to speak to people and recording some amazing content. So what keeps me inspired is just living in each moment, because I could be here or not even be here. I could be thinking of the fantasy of, I can't wait to do this, I can't wait to do that. But then I miss this. So what really keeps me inspired in life in general is just each moment itself, because there's so many beautiful little things as well. Like a multi-million-dollar raise is not greater than this moment, because all moments are equal, and when you're here you feel that. I wouldn't want to be with my partner watching Netflix thinking about multi-million dollars. I want to be with her watching Netflix fully, right? And every moment when I am present, because even my mind will hijack me every now and then, but when I am here, every moment is like overflowing of I can't ask for anything more. Like I don't want to be anywhere else right now. I don't want anything more or anything less right now. I'm just here. And locking into that, being here, stepping back is what continually just I live from a state of inspiration. And everything is just effortless from here.
Man, well, I'm seeing a beautiful theme, and yeah, I can agree with you, right? You know, everything you're saying sort of kind of comes full circle to what you've already said so far. And I'm sure that people watching right now will start to, you know, really see the simplicity in the complexity, right? Because you look at someone, you try to overanalyze and you create this paralysis, whereas in reality it's very simple. At the end of the day, there are some things you need to go through to experience, to build up that drive, but just listening, just really taking it in, and now simply applying the simplistic manner. Man, I had to learn the hard way so many times. Why do I keep overcomplicating things? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be so complicated?
Yeah.
It just leads you into roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, and you end up having these make or break moments, which at the end of the day are very valuable as well. So as we segue out, man, you know, we're talking to people that have dreams just like you had, just like I had when I started. You know, a lot of these people have already started that dream, and a lot of these people are running into the same challenges that you've run into.
Yeah.
And in varying degrees. Just keep in mind the challenges are opportunities, but they never stop. They always come. So what's some things that you can leave with the viewers for some final words from yourself?
Easy. As much as your business strategies and skills are important, focus just as much attention on understanding the nature of the mind and what is the place behind the mind. You can call it your spiritual awakening if you want, but that's just a label for what is, right? Because the strategies are important. Like the more experience and strategies and mental understanding of business and concepts and okay, what is the lean methodology? What is agile in software development? Like these things will be important for you depending on what route you want to take, right? What is a click funnel? What is a sales funnel? All of these different concepts are important, but they're useless if you can't see where you're applying the concept from. If you're applying the concept or exploring the concept from desperation, you've just tainted the concept and it's just not going to work for you. So it's 50-50. Like if I look at my last couple of years, I would put 90% into like business insight, 10% into awakening, you could say. And then I would flip to the other side as the mind naturally does. I put 90% into the awakening and then flip 10% into business. But there is actually a harmonious middle ground where you aren't afraid of mental concepts and learning in the mind and going for visions and goals, but also understanding that none of that actually matters. All that really matters is this moment and what energy you are coming from and what state of being you are in within each moment. So you'll develop your own formula, your own flow of maybe you dedicate your mornings to coming to this moment and then you do your work, right? And then there's little touch points and you don't do any more work after a certain time because it's too much out of balance. So I guess that's almost a full circle, is like leaving that with you guys and coming back to I think one of the first things you said, which is balance, right? The balance is just, the only balance is imbalance, right? And the only constant is change. So just literally enjoying the moment in the roller coaster of life and just monitoring the balance, teetering to one side too much and teetering to the other side. That is life. You don't ever get to this point. It's like in a moment, if you're on this point, the next point is like this. You get it back here and the next point is like this. So it's like, that is life itself until your time on this earth is done. And have fun with this rather than trying to go on this endless pursuit to get everything like in line or aligned, right?
Yeah,
that's what
absolutely.
I would say.
Now, what I get from that, of course, is so much, and I know that everyone that's viewing this is going to get a lot from it. At the end of the day, in this endless pursuit, you can operate in a range of ways, but what we're wanting to achieve, what you're wanting to achieve, to get through that alive is to flow amongst the turbulent, rocky journey of ups and downs, of imbalances and balances. So I think that's absolutely beautiful, and I just want to thank you, Chent, for being here in the second episode. I think, man, I've enjoyed myself, and I look forward to seeing all of the success that you're yet to accomplish, the impact that you're yet to have, and continue to build on in the industry that you're in. Thank you. Pleasure to be here, and I look forward to jumping on somewhere in episode 10, 20, 30 with a new set of insight, right? Or a deeper, wider plane of awareness to share with you guys. So you're always welcome here, man.
Thank you.
So I can't wait for that. Thank you, guys.
Cheers, bro.